Hello, and welcome to this INVALSI teacher training video. The objective of this video is to help develop students' language competence in reading through the use of authentic texts with practical classroom ideas and integrated skills activities. At the end of the video, we will show you an example of an authentic INVALSI reading task using the same written text. So, what makes a text a B2 text? In order to identify the features of text representative of each level, it's worth referring back to the CEFR descriptors to highlight key words which will help us select suitable texts consistent with the target level. The Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, or CEFR, is an international standard to describe competence in a foreign language. It was developed by the Council of Europe and is structured on a progressive scale of A, B and C, further developed into sub-stages from level A1, beginner, to C2, proficient user. A B2 language user can read with a large degree of independence, adapting style and speed of reading to different texts and purposes, and using appropriate reference sources selectively. They have a broad active reading vocabulary, but may experience some difficulty with low-frequency idioms. So, how do we select a B2 text? Students who have reached B2 can process a text which is longer than a few hundred words. The topic can be outside the everyday experience of the reader and can be concrete or abstract. Some concepts may be implicit. The text may include complex syntax, multi-word verb forms, and low-frequency words. In real life, we read for various reasons, and we use different reading styles according to our reading purpose. For example, quick selective reading. When we need to pick out specific information or important details, or if we want to get the gist of a text, we apply a quick and selective reading style. On the other hand, careful reading is when we need to understand the main ideas of a text and to infer the writer's opinion. In this case, we read more slowly and more carefully. We're going to analyze a text which can be related to the following analytical CEFR descriptors. A B2 user can quickly identify the content and relevance of news items, articles, and reports on a wide range of professional topics, deciding whether closer study is worthwhile. The features of the text focus on careful reading for main ideas as reading behavior. We're going now to analyze a text dealing with a special kind of footwear. In order to help students identify the main ideas of this text, we're going to propose a prediction activity. We ask students to focus their attention on the title. These boots could save a firefighter's life. And ask students to work in groups to answer the following question. How could boots save a firefighter's life? They should provide as many reasons as they can. After working in groups, learners then share their ideas with the class. We won't tell the class which answer is nearest to the contents of the text. Here are some words and phrases taken from the text which we give to the students. They're in the same order as in the text. We now have the students work in groups to create stories by using these words and phrases. They should try to include as many prompts as possible. As students at this level are generally quite creative, we may expect a variety of versions. Each group can write their story and then report it back to the class. We then comment on the different stories and show students the real text in order to check what they predicted. It's now time to read the text. You can pause the video and use the links below to download the text and the predicting activity. Although standardized tests focus on receptive skills, listening and reading, it is recommended to practice all 4 language skills in the classroom. Authentic reading texts lend themselves perfectly to integrating skills. The integrated skill activity we suggest now is still related to the topic of the reading text and introduces a group project which integrates reading, writing, and speaking. At this point, students have read the text and can compare their own text reconstructions with the original text. This activity may turn into a possible expansion with a whole lesson on cohesion and coherence of a text. As a follow-up, we can ask the class to prepare a poster presentation on the importance of safety equipment in the workplace. Students in groups can search the web in order to find information about the most common PPE, or personal protective equipment. Each group can work on a specific workplace, for instance, building site, or a shipyard, or manufacturing plant. The web quest on the most common PPE naturally leads to specific vocabulary expansion. As an example, the group working on the PPE necessary on a building site may come across words such as hard hats, chemical splash goggles, respiratory protection, or steel-toed boots. Each group can structure a mini glossary of the specific PPE lexis with simple explanations for each term, focusing on a description of the item, the part of the body protected, and the aim of the equipment. You can find the vocabulary activity materials by clicking on the links below. Students can also focus on the PPE conventional signs and compare the European norms with what they've found online. The poster presentation can be followed by a class discussion. Here is a creative, integrated skills, vocabulary and speaking activity called Vocabulary Definitions Competition. Sit students facing each other, with student A facing the interactive whiteboard and student B with their back to the board. Prepare slides of 5 of the words that came out of the collective glossaries on safety equipment. Tell student A that they have 1 minute to define all 5 words without using words contained on the board. Student B must listen and tell A the word that they define. All pairs play simultaneously for 1 minute. At the end of 1 minute, the teacher feeds back from each pair, asking them to say how many words student B managed to guess. Repeat the same process for various slides with various lists of 5 words, changing roles of the definer and the guesser. The text "These boots could save a firefighter's life" was used for a reading comprehension task. INVALSI chooses authentic texts as stimulus for reading comprehension activities. The testing method which was used in this task is true, false, justification, which encourages the students to read carefully to understand what ideas are actually expressed in the text. The request for a justification prevents wild guessing, which is always a risk with a true-false activity. The true-false justification method consists in selecting true if the statement in the item matches what is stated in the text. If the information in the item contradicts in some way what is stated in the text, students should select false. For both choices, students must provide a justification for why the statement is considered true or false and identify the sentence in the text which contains the justification. To ensure standardization, students are not asked to provide the words which carry the justification, but the first 4 words of the sentence containing it. It's now time to do the task. Pause the video and use the link below to download the text, the questions and the answer keys. That's the end of this INVALSI teacher training video. We hope it's been useful for you. Now, try the activities in class.